And ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Shop Talk, where we're a bunch of off-the-clock techs who talk shop talk. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Tonight I have a special guest with me, but before I introduce him, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in the channel and in the community. I want to give a special shout out to class 001 of TMM Academics. Those brothers went through a phenomenal class of sealed system, which my partner and I learned something, and that's that the industry needs a little bit of polishing. And I'm not judging the whole industry based off 3 or 4 brothers, but based off of a poll that I put up, I've been given a great amount of feedback that a lot of people want refrigerator repaired. So my partner and I are going to host our next refrigerator course March 5th through the 8th. And that is completely different than sealed system, where we're not going to teach you how to take out a compressor, put a vacuum, dollar charge. We're not doing that. In this class, which I think it would be better if you take this class first, then take sealed system. And this is going to teach you defrost, timers, cold controls, heater elements, gaskets, water valves, ice makers, everything refrigerator oriented. That's going to be our next class. And in other news, I would like to take a moment of silence for somebody that passed away, and I just found out like a week ago, and that's the author of Eric Kleiner, the Troubleshooting Major Appliances. One of my subscribers told me that he passed away, and like I told you guys, I mean, when I first started, that's how I got my training. That was my school, that was my education. I read that book like it was, to me, the Appliance Repair Bible. And that's what got me to where I'm at, in addition to skill training and all of that. So for that, I found out that he died, and that brother meant something to me, and I hope his life's work passes on. So because he's somebody so important to me in this industry, I just like to give a moment of silence to show him and his family respect. So for that, I just want to offer a moment of silence. That's for Brother Kleiner. May he rest in peace. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to wish you a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. You guys be safe out there. Happy New Year's, whatever religious holidays you celebrate, we wish you that. Well, with all of that out of the way, tonight's Shop Talk, I wanted to introduce you guys to a very, very special friend to me. This is my brother Rick, and I'll tell you how he and I met. Back when I had my channel started, he had one too. And I guess one of his students found me, and I found his channel, and I fell in love with his channel. I was actually disappointed when he took it down, but we'll talk about that. So long story short, I found out that the guy's local. So I don't know him at all. I say, man, can I stop by? I'd love to check out your facility. You know, maybe I could meet some of your guys. Maybe I could get a tech, whatever. Is it cool? Yeah, come on over. And it was like, since day one, me and him always had good vibes. He's been like a mentor to me, an older brother. And I'm humbled and I'm glad that he's on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you rock with me, I'd ask the same courtesy. My brother Rick.
What's up?
Love you, OG. Tell the people who you are.
My name's Richard Zilka. I teach here at Miami Lakes Education Center, Major Appliance and Refrigeration Technology. Been here about 32 years.
32 years in this facility.
Yes.
Teaching appliance repair.
Started at 22.
Okay, so let's backtrack. You started appliance repair at the age of 22 years old.
No, I started teaching at 22.
You started teaching. Well, what kind of credentials does a 22-year-old walk around with to teach appliance repair? Certainly you have a history.
It's probably you know, one of the youngest vocational teachers, at least in Florida, you have to have a minimum of 6 years field experience to become a teacher. So I took appliance repair as a high school student, and when I graduated high school, I was 17. I went to work for Sears, and I had 5 years with Sears, plus the 1 year at school. They counted that as 6 years, and that's how I got my job.
Back in the days, was Sears like how it was now?
No.
Let me elaborate on what I mean. I go to the par house and I run into a lot of Sears guys, and I ask them, my brother, what do you do at Sears? And what I've learned is they separate their techs. For example, they'll do, some guys cook,
Yeah.
some guys laundry. Was Sears like that for you?
They did that back then too. That was back, I started working for them in 83 to 88. And they were like laundry techs, kitchen techs, refrigeration techs. At that time though, I was one of the few that did everything.
Universal.
I even did more than you can imagine. Central vacuum cleaners, sewing machines. I did some lawn equipment. I did a little bit of computer stuff back then too. So I was all over. I even did central air. So they used to send me to the Keys twice a week to fix appliances, because we'd only go to the Keys twice a week. So they sent me because I could work on whatever came up.
Damn. Okay, so you were 17 years old, and you started working for Sears.
Yeah. I had my own truck at 17. I find that weird, but I worked 2 days, and the second day, the guy that was training me told me to drop him off. I knew what I was doing, and the second day I was driving my own service calls, straight out of high school.
Okay, now walk this by me. I'm in my middle 30s, and I still get asked, you look too young to do this, blah, 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 blah. You were 22 years old.
Oh, 17.
No, when you came here.
Oh, yeah.
So you're 22 years old, and you're applying for a teacher's position. What the hell made you want to teach at 22 anyway?
Well, when I was in high school, I was telling the teacher who gave me written tests that he had a possibility of 2 answers. He could have, wrote this differently so it was worded right. And at one point I just said to him, one day I'm going to take your job. And I remember him giving me the call saying, listen, they hired someone to teach this program. They just opened the program. He lasted 2 days. He was a Sears tech. And after 2 days, he walked out of a class of 25 people. And so I walked in and I was just like, okay, guys, let's go. When they interviewed me, the administrator only asked me a couple of questions. And like he said, one of the first things he said, he sat down and says, you look pretty young. He says, what makes you think they're going to listen to you? Because most of the guys in class are going to be older than you. And I said, well, listen, I've been that way since I was Sears at 17. And, customers doubted me when I walked in, but they knew I knew what I was talking about. When I left, they only wanted me to come back out. I mean, I know I had a few that might not have been so happy, but
Yeah.
But other than that, I told him basically the same thing. It says, once I tell them, this is how this works and this is how that works, and they know what I'm talking about, the age difference doesn't matter.
When you got your training with Sears, did you say like your training was a mix of like learning, riding along with somebody? Was it textbook, theory? Was it just practical, hands-on, or a culmination of everything?
No, they hired me. The very first day they put me in a truck with a guy named Bill Walker. He was one
Shout out to brother Bill Walker. If you're tuning in, hit the like and subscribe
He
button.
was a lead technician back then, and the second day we drove back to the shop and he got out. I went to get out. He says, what are you doing? I said, we picking up a part or something? And he says, no, you don't need me. You know what you're doing. Go. And that was it. I had my own route. So I really wasn't trained by Sears. They told me a little bit about the paperwork and everything. And basically, when you hire techs for your company, you want them to already know how to fix appliances. You just want them to know the procedures of your business. How do you order parts? What do you tell customers? Stuff like that.
Damn. All right, so you're 22 now.
Yeah.
Let the games begin. So now you get guys in here. That, and no disrespect to the guys in here, but anyway, the guys in here that they come in, they say, I've been working on these mechanical timers and I'm used to this, analog way of doing things. And now you got things that you put them in calibration mode, automatic mode, manual test mode. How do you get an older, seasoned vet to listen to a 22-year-old that's still wet between his ears. Respectfully, that is, because that's probably how they were looking at you.
Well, back then in '88, there really wasn't that many electronic machines, and the ones that had just come out, I remember Sears having the all black washer with a computer board, like one of the first, digital ones. They didn't have diagnostic modes. So you just had to learn how to fix them and troubleshoot them as they were. But through time, I had to even change my thinking because I was old school. I still use an analog meter to this day. I was helping the student earlier before he came in, using an analog meter. I like analog better than digital.
Why? I'm curious.
Analog needle, when you test something, the needle moves to one point, like a lot of people, they don't want to like add or subtract numbers or multiply. I just look at it and know what the number is. If you use it enough, you know what it is. And digital meters are they're good. They do some things good, some things they don't do so well. They're very sensitive, so if you apply a little more pressure, your readings are different. And if you're checking a thermistor where temperature and resistance is important, that's gonna be a factor. Plus, like if you do a diode in a microwave, most digital meters only have a 9-volt battery. And that's not enough power to read a diode in a microwave. You get an open reading. And my analog meter has 3 batteries in it, 9-volt, 2 AA's, and I can read the diode all day. And that's a $40 analog universal meter that they don't even make no more. So.
Klein! What's up, Klein? Here I am talking about the CL700. Anyway.
I have a Klein too, though.
I'm a Klein kind of
They're
guy.
good for checking temperature,
They're
good for checking capacitance, but digital analog meters just jump. They don't give you capacitance readings. So Klein meters are good. Like I said, digital meters are good for certain things, and then analog meters are good for other things.
Okay. So, you're 22 now. It's an 88. There wasn't a duet. There wasn't a GE harmony. None of that crap was floating around then. So for a while, it was pretty self-explanatory. You had mechanical timers, pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. Nothing digital.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even the clocks had the flipping numbers.
Was the education of appliance repair as accessible as it is today back in the 80s?
No, we had no internet. We didn't have cell phones. We had to look up parts on microfiche.
Microfiche?
Yeah, the plastic sheet. You put it in a magnifier, and you have to, wait, and then it's broken down where you have to find the model number. When you find the model number, it tells you what card the parts breakdown is for your machine. So digitally nowadays, we put in the model number, we see a parts breakdown. Well, you had to use the index card to figure out which card your machine was on, and hopefully the guy before you put it back in the index, in the right place.
It sounds like the library.
It was
exactly
the same way.
Did you guys have access to the tech lines back then? Can you call Whirlpool?
Yeah, you could, but you didn't call Whirlpool. You called Sears tech support,
Stack.
which no, they wouldn't even stack back then. I don't know what it's called, but it was really your supervisor or the lead tech. They really didn't have like a group of guys you could call and press 1 for refrigeration, 2 for kitchen. It wasn't like that.
So, I used to bash. I say used to. I used to bash guys and call them part changing monkeys, but I'm not gonna say that no more.
Yeah.
It's derogatory. But it's a thing in our industry that I can't agree with neither, and that's like people who don't choose to educate themselves or choose to put in that extra work, and rather than being on TV watching The Simpsons, learning how circuitry works. I say all that to say this: there's still guys out here that shotgun parts and make messes that we gotta go behind and clean. But there's no excuse today. Back in your days, did you see a lot of that? Like guys shotgunning parts?
Oh, yeah.
Or being we call quote unquote part changers?
I still see it now, and I still see it back then. I tell you, it's crazy. The guy orders 5 parts. I order defrost heater, defrost thermostat, defrost control board, or defrost timer. Really, dude? You didn't check the other 2 parts out? You can check out bimetal on the heater. And if they're good, just change the timer. But no, it was all frosted up. I couldn't test it. They don't know they can go to the timer and check that component. So people can't read schematics. And you don't use schematics every day, but when you need to troubleshoot something, you gotta know how to use a meter and read schematics.
I can't tell you the amount of times that I go on a job and like I open up the washer and the schematics are always tucked in, nice and clean. And I asked the lady like, how many guys has been here before? Oh, you're like the third guy. And I'm like, why isn't nobody putting this thing into diagnostic mode, retrieving error codes, testing components? But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
So you're teaching now, and let's fast forward. You end up here, the head honcho at one of, in my humble opinion, the country's greatest facilities. And I'll go ahead and give them a plug, courtesy of TMM.
All right.
Miami-Dade Lakes Community College. You got a hell of a facility over here, boss. What do you do? What do you teach?
I teach everything: washers, gas electric dryers, gas electric stoves, dishwashers, trash compactors, garbage disposals, refrigerators, wall window air conditioning, dehumidifiers, ice machines, everything.
And you're going to start now a commercial course as well, correct?
Yeah, we're working on building a commercial course. I have a couple product in here. I do have commercial experience as well.
Doing?
Residential. I did about a year and a half of commercial.
Doing what though? Like
Fixing
like
restaurants. I go into restaurants and fix equipment in restaurants, all different types. Tony Roma's, Uno's Pizzeria. Some people may not have them in their area, but yeah, I've done all that.
Damn. So you're doing this commercial thing, you got this going on, and for those that don't know, you also own and operate, well, you have your own thing too, right?
Yeah, I have a business.
Talk
too.
about that.
Well, the company is called Appliance Services. We have 22 trucks on the road.
My competitors, by the way, but we love them. Love, peace, and harmony.
No,
shout out to all the R&R brothers.
There's plenty of chum in the sea for all
Amen.
the little fish.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. For the little fish.
No,
You heard about
not you. I'm talking about. I'm little too. You got like Flamingo's got over 100 trucks. You know,
yeah.
and Lakes Appliance. They're all over the state.
Whoa, but ladies and gentlemen, this guy's no Joe Schmo. Go ahead and brag a little bit. Talk about how many trucks you got.
I got 22 trucks, and then I got a few office people here and there. But
give them a shout out. It's Christmas time. They're the real MVPs.
Hey everyone, I appreciate all you do for R&R if you're watching. Thanks.
Amen. That's right, man. And shout out to all the people, all the CSRs out there and the parts guys. Y'all the real MVPs for real. Without them, this thing wouldn't flow as good.
Yeah.
But you got 22 trucks.
Yeah.
And how many cities?
I'm from Port St. Lucie to Homestead, so you got Dade County, Broward County, West Palm Beach, and then Fort Pierce. And then I'm in Kissimmee, Orlando area, and Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area. I had people in Jacksonville, but it's very hard to keep technicians up there. They decide to move away or something, and you can't find people because there's no schools up there. Nobody to train.
How do you keep it together? I'm falling apart with one or two. You got 22.
I have a lot of help. I have my partner, Robert. Without him, the business wouldn't be.
Shout out to brother Robert.
Yeah, and then Carlos, my office manager. When Robert and I are not around, we're dealing with other things. Carlos, he mans the fort. You know, he helps keep the office and the techs going. I mean, you know, those two guys, they do 10 times more work than I do. I'm just technical support and background kind of stuff. So.
And another thing you're involved with, you're like board director for this national competition.
No,
how does that work?
I got friends that are in a skills competition.
For those that don't know what the skills competition is.
Okay, every year, all vocational schools, no matter what program, automotive, culinary, cosmetology, and so forth, compete against each other from a regional area, which is like local area, to the state level competition. And only the first place of the state gets to go to a national contest, which is in Louisville, Kentucky this year. So the students have to compete at different levels, and if you don't win, you don't advance. And only first place from the state gets to go to nationals. So I've been a judge, I've been a student, I've been a contestant, you know, and now I'm a teacher behind it. So being a teacher is cool. It's like being a coach. You know, you train these guys, you put problems in machines, you tell them the proper way they should approach the problem, and, you know, you hope they do their best, you know. And at state, the competition in the state is unsurpassed because our top 3 or 4 competitors always come within 10, 15 points of each other with each station, and there's 10 of them, is 100 points. So you can imagine the top four are only 4 or 5 points apart. And at nationals, Florida has taken back national medal for 30 plus years.
How many other states compete? All 50?
No, there's only about 13, maybe 14 states that have appliance repair and, that actually compete at SkillsUSA. Appliance repair is, people think there's no money in it, and it's definitely not true.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a story here. I got a little speech to give. Brother Rick, he asked me one day, he says, hey, can you host or judge one of these skills test competitions that I'm hosting? I said, okay, no problem. I'll be honored, which I was. It's my way of giving back to the industry. So I show up and they give me an oven. And I think the problem was it had like an open thermistor or something, right? And I'm looking at these kids and I'm saying, this is gonna take them about half an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not lying. These guys showed up suited and booted, shirts tucked in, with a clipboard, a little shy and a little, nervous, but I get it. They're not used to dealing with customers. But these kids came prepared out of the factory. Model and serial number, here you go. They had on gloves, they were pulling out schematics, tracing circuitry. I was like, damn, Rick, can I take 3 or 4 of these to go, please? But meanwhile, you had the sharks all over the place, like Samsung, like a drop of blood in the water. These guys, when they graduate, they don't go unemployed for long. These guys get gigs right away. So to back up my brother's point, whoever's saying that appliance repair, there's no money, I think you should re-educate yourself. And for those who are thinking about enrolling in your local vocational school, do it. What do you say to that guy that's looking for a career change, or you looking for or that young kid like you that's 17, 18 and don't want to go to the military or don't want to go to college for 4 years? He just wants a blue collar gig and he wants to get into appliance repair. To that you say what?
Well, hopefully he does want to get an appliance repair. First thing I tell him is about the money. I got one guy who was rebuilding landing gear for airplanes, making 20 plus an hour, had all the overtime he wanted. He could work 80 hours a week if he wanted to. And his daughter and my daughter played soccer together, and he kept saying, I'm going to take your class, I'm going to take your class. I said, do it. I said, if you do well, I'll hire you. Mm-hmm. The guy works for me. He gets to his first call about 8 in the morning. By about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, he's done every day. His last check that he got today was $3,800, and that's commission.
2 weeks though.
2 weeks. Still, it's $2,000 a week, and you're working for somebody else. So he's using my truck, my gas, my insurance. I'm getting all the calls. I'm submitting all the claims and everything else. And that man walked away with $3,800 for 2 weeks.
For 8 to 4, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, or even less. That guy gets off half a day. The thing is he stocks his truck very well. If you got the right parts and your customer, as many trucks as I have, they all can't have the same truck stock.
Yeah.
Because some people work in lower income neighborhoods, some people work in $1 million homes. Someone's gonna have Electrolux versus a Frigidaire, they're not gonna have the same part. So you have to know your customer, know the product of your service area, and see what gets changed more often. Say, I need to have this on a truck so I get that first time complete. That's where you're gonna make your money.
So you're judging the course too, right? The SkillsUSA.
Yeah, well, I've judged the competition.
But you're like somebody basically, because I'm just going through your resume.
I'm more of an advisor right now. I've been on the state board of directors as an advisor at large or something like that, but I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of guy where I help out and make things happen in the background. I don't need the spotlight. That's not me.
You've been in it for 30 plus years. What more you want?
What do you give? I want a big fat check and retire one day.
What do you give a guy that's a little bit older? I had an email from one of my subscribers. The guy's in his early 60s. Mm-hmm. He's like, look, I don't got much left in me. I gotta make as much as I can. Man, I had to be careful with what I tell that guy and give him the right advice. But appliance repair, I feel like is the way I should point him. But it's a lot to learn too.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you tell the older guys that want to get into this?
if someone wants to start their own business, that's tough. I mean, yeah, you only need what, 2 or 3 jobs a day to make a decent living. I mean, let's just say you make $150, $200 a call, and that's estimating. $200 a call times 3 is $600 a day. You times that 5, that's $3,000 a week.
Throw in some of those are going to be service calls, shows, stuff like that. But even if you walk away with $2,000, there's not a lot of people that walk around America and make $2,000 a week.
That's a $100,000 a year job, and you're working 2 or 3 calls a day. You get up in the morning, you get to your first stop at 10. By 1 o'clock, you do an hour each job, and you're making $100,000 a year.
There's another brother who has a channel. Shout out to my brother Mike Sneed, who runs the Appliance Bootcamp channel.
I've seen the channel too.
Shout out to you, my brother. He compared appliance repair to jujitsu as the martial art in the martial arts world. What's your take on our industry, which is the appliance repair, versus carpentry, electrical, plumbing, welding? What's your take?
Probably cake compared to everything else. I mean, there are some times you're doing a tub on a washing machine, or you got a big stove like this, you got to pull it out, but...
Well, you're fighting with one of these animals.
and 9 out of 10 times, you're just turning a couple of Phillips screws, or you got your drill and you're drilling the screw out, I mean, and changing a little switch. It might be a little frustrating. The toughest thing about this job is the customer. You got to take care of the customer,
and dealing with all the personalities of
that's what you're there for. Yeah, I mean, if you're a hot-tempered person, I could help somebody that is good at communication but not good at appliances. But I can't help anybody that's not good at appliances and has a bad attitude. That's just going to kill their business or kill your business or whatever. And that's what you got to do. It's a game, and you got to play the game.
You know what's beautiful about our industry too? That you don't even got to deal with the customer, because for real, let's say you learn how to fix appliances, you can sell them. Post them online. And it's black and white. I'm selling this washer for X amount, that's what it is. You're not going into their homes. I know many a guy to make a pretty penny off breaking washers and dryers down and selling the components off eBay.
Oh yeah.
I know guys that make a pretty penny doing that. My thing is, there's a lot of niches in the appliance repair. You don't gotta be a tech. Look at Brother Rick. He became an instructor. You got guys that do deliveries. Does your company do deliveries?
No.
Is there money in that?
I have a student who has a delivery company, and some days he calls, says he isn't gonna make it into class because he's working so late. But he's making really good money. But he's taking my class because people are asking him if he could fix stuff. And he was always turning those jobs down. So now he said, within the short time he's been here, he's made enough money, fixing appliances to pay for his class. So it really didn't cost him anything to come here. So he's been fixing and selling them. He brings a microwave in, puts a door switch on a microwave or something like that, or steals a magnetron out of one microwave and puts it in another, and he sells it for $150, and he installs it too. So he double dips.
Is there money in the installation game?
There is, but I'm afraid of it. I mean, can you imagine
tell me
to put
about
these
it.
in and out just to service them when you're scratching up the cabinets or something like that,
I would assume your insurance got to go up substantially.
No, it doesn't change from service to install.
Really?
It's when you start messing up is when your insurance got to start rising.
Damn. Let's talk a little bit of numbers. And if you don't feel comfortable, we'll say pass. But for a guy like myself, I pay something like $80, $100 for insurance. But I'm dealing with 2 guys. You got 22 liabilities that go out daily and deal with water, electrical, gas. What kind of insurance bill do you pay, brother?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what the cost is because Robert does that.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to brother Robert again.
So I'm gonna be honest and not, you know, make something up. I mean, I know we have 1 million, 2 million, you have the same thing, don't you?
Yeah, I have 1 million per case max.
Yeah.
Up to 2 million per year
That's
total.
Basically, I think that's what we got too, the same thing.
And you feel comfortable with that?
Well, hopefully all 22 don't
Don't
print
mess up at
something.
one time. Knock on wood.
But, you know, I mean, it's part of the business, you know, I just sent out an email today to all my techs. It says 30 things that a tech should do, and it tells them you're here to fix the customer, not just the machine. And I just said, guys, just read it. You know, you could all the time. You tell your techs one time, preach it all the time. You know, and you have to live what you preach too. You know, if you don't treat them the way you want them to treat their customers, they're not going to work that way either. You know,
Karma.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, let's put out some good karma. I get this question a lot too. Not everybody can get access to a local vocational school. Not everybody can afford an online school. Some guys just gotta get it how they could get it. If a guy that's watching this and really legitimately can't or has no way of educating himself formally, what kind of advice would you give somebody that's trying to learn the industry that just doesn't have the means for education?
You mean TMM?
No, they can't afford it. They can't. What's your advice to them?
Read a lot, YouTube, manuals.lib is an awesome website.
Manuals.lib. Elaborate on those who don't know. What is manuals.lib?
Manuals.lib is a free site that you can put a model number in or just put LG washer, and you may not find it. They don't have everything there, but they're constantly building up the library, but they have a lot of manufacturers' technical service manuals. So you can find stuff there instead of worrying about that. You know, Service Matters you have to pay a subscription to, but you got Service Matters, and you know, hopefully you become factory authorized for some of these companies that get you in the door at least to use their technical support if you need it, you know.
And not to be confused with warranty, where those guys don't know, you know, the machines as well as if what Brother Rick is suggesting, you get in with like, I don't know, Samsung or something, and they're actually telling you how to diagnose their own product. So it's definitely ways out there for a guy who doesn't have access to something like this to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, another thing that I get asked a lot, what happened to you? You had one of the best industry YouTube channels out there. You had up all this good content, but you took it down. The streets want to know, man.
All right.
Talk about it.
First of all, when I originally put up the channel, it wasn't really meant to be a public channel. Those lectures were recorded in the class, and I was like, guys asked me, hey, what did you say about that the other day? And I was like, you know what, maybe I should record my lectures, and if I put them someplace that they could watch them later, you know, something they might have missed during the lecture, they could watch. So that YouTube channel was really designed just for my students. But I didn't think about it when I created it. I didn't worry about public, private, whatever. And I thought, I don't care if other people learn it too. But, you know, some manufacturers requested that, you know, that I don't talk about their product online. And then plus, being a public school teacher, you never know if a word slips up that shouldn't be said.
Liability. I get it.
You know, like I said, I got 32 years. I could retire right now and collect my pension. I only need 30. But I enjoy teaching. It's not killing me or breaking my back, and I plan to do it for a little while longer. But, you know, you'd hate for just one stupid word to come out or someone take something you said the wrong way, and now you're defending your job. Wow. So I just said, you know what, I better just walk away from this, because they were sending out all kinds of notices, you know, don't go on your social media, you know, Facebook and Instagram, you know, watch what you publish, you know, you're sitting there with your friends having a few beers or something like that. And it may come out the wrong way. You know, not that you intentionally plan on doing that. So basically I said, you know, that's enough of that.
Well, brother, I hope that now that you helping us out with the academic portion, I hope we get to see a lot more of you. Where do you see this industry going, man?
Technology. with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all these products and everything else. Now they're talking about introducing smart home into the appliances. I remember going to a Frigidaire. There was a national convention on the West Coast. They invited a few of us servicers over there to do like a roundtable talk. And they asked me, well, what do you like to see in the future? And this was about 8-9 years ago. I said, you guys have Wi-Fi in the home. Why doesn't the product have Wi-Fi when, it does an F3 code instead of just F3 popping up and the customer seeing it and calling for service? Why does the machine just go on the internet and send an email to Frigidaire telling them, hey, Miss Jones' stove flash an F3 code, and have Frigidaire call the customer?
Damn.
And tell the customer their machine's broke. Hey, Miss Jones, I got a tech in the area. I can have them there within the next hour.
What do you want from me? I'm there, Miss Jones. But hit the subscribe and like button.
Yeah, so not just the factories, but maybe the customer's able to put in their own number of their own favorite service company,
And some of these newer appliances come Wi-Fi and everything, right?
Oh, all these have Wi-Fi. This one has Bluetooth. You turn this on and the hood comes on.
Whoa, look at that. Invisible wires. How do you check continuity in those wires?
With an invisible meter.
With an invisible meter. A guy that has a computer background.
No, that helps.
Would it be feasible to him to get, or she, to get into the appliance repair business?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's my thing. I come on here and I do these videos to champion our industry, because I feel like there was a lack thereof. So I'm just trying to show the world, man, appliance repair is where you want to be. And to those brothers or sisters that is out there doing computer programming and stuff, there you have it. What other fields would you say is a good transition from that field to appliance repair? Electrical, HVAC?
Electronics, TV repair or something like that. Now it's just parts changing on TVs. It's either a power board or a display board or a tuner or something like that. There's not many parts to replace, but they still need someone to physically take it apart, determine which one of those parts are bad, and change it. The average consumer's not going to do that. That's got to be someone that's skilled and going to get paid to do that job.
When was the last time that you put on a work uniform and you went out there and you got under a washer?
A couple of weeks ago.
Really? You got out there?
I didn't really want to call myself. I actually went to assist one of my technicians.
Okay.
But every now and then I'll run a call and go out there and with
just to see if you still got it?
To help them.
Okay.
They're having a little problem trying to troubleshoot, and it's just not something you can help them over the phone, So sometimes you have to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
I use WhatsApp, bro.
Yeah.
I use my tech. I say, hey, get on WhatsApp. Oh, you don't got Wi-Fi? Ask the customer. I'm gonna start even getting those little Verizon packages where you can offer Wi-Fi so that there's really no excuse. But man, I'm at home now. Well, in the office now. There's a section of my home that's the office, and I'm doing orders, and they'll call me. Hey, look, I'm over here. Put it on WhatsApp, and I'll look at what they're looking at, and then I'll move the screen and go on the text sheet, and I'll say, okay, go from pin 1 and 2, and it helps, man, without having to go out there.
That's great when it works, but I got guys that are sometimes in boondock areas, and you can't even hear them on the phone. Go outside, I can't hear you, And so, if the reception's bad, that's, I just saw an email today, 5G's coming to Miami. It's going to be here soon.
Really?
Yeah. So
because my phone's been saying 5G for the last year and a half, I never had 5G?
No, 4G is all we had, bro.
AT&T, y'all tricked me. Let me ask you a question. Give me the ugly of appliance repair.
Be a little more descriptive. Ugly.
Tell me things that you you dislike about appliance repair.
The thing I dislike is dealing with irate customers, and most of the companies I worked for, I was never called a lead tech, but when another technician couldn't fix it or customer didn't want that tech back, the company usually sent me because I could talk a customer down, And I tell you, that's the toughest thing is the machine's nothing. It don't talk to you, But customers, I'll walk in and you sit there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes and just let them complain, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm here to help you. Let me see what I can do to fix it. And finally, they'll let you touch it, you know, for the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't even take a screwdriver out of your bag.
They all floated on you.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's the toughest thing. I mean, besides that, and all these products were like 5 different boards in there. I'm trying to determine, how do you know it's the main board or the user interface board or the ice maker control board? You know, if they put everything on one board, it's easy to say it's a board. But if there's 3 or 4 boards in there and they're all doing something different, and you know, they don't give you, oh, test here, if you have 12 volts DC at these 2 pins, change that board. If you don't, change this board. No, they don't give you the voltages and the readings between boards, and it's hard to troubleshoot separate boards.
Wow.
I mean, inverter board maybe you can do, but other boards are hard.
Give me a story of your most difficult customer you ever dealt with. Go ahead.
Back in the days, Sears.
Talk about it.
Being young and new in the industry, it was around Thanksgiving time. It was like, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving. They had me work late shift, 10 to 7. So I was here about 6:30, and the lady had an old oven that had the selector switch and the thermostat, not a board. And her thermostat was bad. It's 6:30. No parts house is open past 5:30. Sears is closed, my office. She said, you ain't leaving my house till you fix my stove. So what am I gonna do? And then back then we didn't have cell phones or nothing. I pick up my bag, I say, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm gonna have to order a part. You wait till the last minute or broke just before the day before Thanksgiving. Nothing I can do. But she stood in front of the doorway, didn't want to let me out the door. So I said, can I use your phone? I said, I'm calling 911. Get out of my house. Yeah, I remember that story to this day. It was like, she was threatening me, like in my face, you're gonna fix my stove. You know, I was young then. I'm only about 23, 24 years old, you know, but.
Man, I had a scary call once too, man. I had a dude, right, that we were running late, no questions about it. 100% he was within all rights to feel how he felt. And I remember too, I kept telling him, it's not even worth saying like who. We didn't call him. As a collective group, all of us, all my staff, we didn't make the effort to call him and inform him. Somewhere, somehow the ball got dropped, starting at me, because I'm at the top. I take full responsibility for it. Finally, I get there. It was a 1 to 5 window. I get there and it's 6:22. But mind you, though, we called them like at around 5-ish and told them, like, look, no, we coming, man. We apologize, but we coming. And we're going to do all we can, like expedite the parts, like give them service.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, like it's unintentional. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're at home with our feet up, like let's screw the customer over. No, stuff is going on that you can't control. But man, this dude is hostile. I feel the temperature with him. I get like a spirit like in my stomach, like this dude gonna be a headache. Cool. I get there, right? Like you said, before I couldn't even set foot in the door, he's already beating me up. From the time I pulled up in the driveway, the door was open. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's gonna go crazy. All right, whatever. I sit there and I let him like, unload. After that, I say, okay, cool. I make it now inside of the house to finally the kitchen area. And he's just like trying to like engage me. Cause like, I'm like, well, we did like try to call you like minutes after 5 to inform. Oh, but So I was like, damn, don't even try to explain yourself, cause that'll open up a can of worms too. So the best thing is just accept the defeat. I apologize, take your ass whooping, and keep on moving. But now we get to the kitchen and we're finally there, inches to the fridge. And this guy still doesn't let me go. And I tell him, boss, respectfully, you want to beat me up or you want me to fix your fridge? What do you want to do here? I got things to do. Nah, but I guess he caught himself like in his manner, and that took. But he was an older guy. Mm-hmm. That ticked him off. that dude got so close to my face, I felt the vibe, the bass in his voice. And I don't know if like you ever been in no street fight, like how dudes sucker punch you. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Or I'm not saying, but I knew like I'm gonna get the drop. So if I see like the wink out of, and I'm like, how did I get here? I'm an appliance repair guy. I'm not in the UFC.
Yeah.
And bro, I'm like, man, this is gonna be the craziest go out of my life. I knock out some old guy, or I get knocked out by some old guy. I don't want to knock out nobody. I just want to come in here and fix your fridge. But I tell you, it was a very uneasy nerve situation, man, because like he was that hostile and that irate. But man, I stood my ground too as a man, because it's like, damn, boss, you know, like, all right, I apologize. I said you right. If we got to get this part, Repair Clinic will let you order up to like 10 p.m. Eastern or something. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Repair Clinic. If you're watching, please hit the subscribe and like, and email me for business inquiries. So I know like I could get this guy a part the next day, hopefully, or from, you know, somewhere. But like, let me get at least a chance at the fridge. But nah, man, that was a scary situation, man. That was like the one time in my career where I thought like I was gonna have to, you know, do the 1-2. But yeah, that is a negative part of the industry, man. I agree with you. But I hate traffic. That's my niche. Well, traffic.
Traffic wasn't that bad, but I remember working during Hurricane Andrew. Oof. And there were no street signs, no traffic lights, no power. I remember going down the street, and then they had the street blocked off because they're picking up all the trash off the street, so you couldn't go. I'd have to call the office, tell the customer I can't make it, I can't get to their house. They won't even let me drive down the street. So it's that. Traffic now is worse. I don't know if it's as bad as LA or Boston or any of those places, but I've been in LA.
I've been in LA too, brother.
But I tell you what.
That traffic is rough.
The traffic here, they put express lanes on the freeway I-75, and now they've created another backup beyond where the original backup used to be, and it just, people nowadays, they don't care on the road, man. They just.
Do you think the guy that works in an overpopulated city makes more or less than the guy that works in a much more suburban, right? Because this is rural. That would be suburban.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think a suburban guy makes more than a rural guy?
If you run the same number of calls, you're going to make the same amount of money. But there are certain cities that, you know, the actual city income is lower and the cost of living is lower, so you can't charge as much in a big city like Miami, but then they tax you on everything else, like groceries, you know, gas price here over Orlando is 15-20 cents more a gallon than it is in Orlando. So, you know, you can make more money in bigger cities, but the cost of living in bigger cities is more too, so it balances out.
How much is your company service call? I asked that to all my
guests. We charge $90 to come out and diagnose.
How much is Sears? $99, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned those guys.
I don't call Sears.
No, because I remember one time a customer told me they charge them like 90 or something, and they don't apply it toward the repair.
Well, no, we charge 90, and then that is part of the labor. Yeah. But on our website, if a customer books online through our website, they get an additional $25 off the labor, not the $90 charge.
The labor.
So if we go out and we say, okay, the whole job's 150 plus parts, they can get $25 off if they, you know, go to the website and use the coupon that we have on our website.
Are you guys using the Blue Book, or you do your own pricing?
Majority of our techs have a small pricing sheet. We don't use the Blue Book because I think there's just too many charges for too many different jobs, and Blue Book is good. I had a book when I worked for Sears. They had a code for every job, knob, belt, timer. But, you know, sometimes if you go by the book, a timer job on one machine may be 15 minutes. A timer job on another machine may be an hour, especially if there's a dryer sitting on top of the machine, you know? So I don't know how well the book worked for me. So we basically came up with a generalized, if it's this kind of job and it's going to take 30 minutes to an hour, we'll charge this rate. If it's going to take this much or a second man, it's based accordingly.
What's your thoughts on guys that undercharge? What's your message to them guys that say, man, I live in a small city, I can't charge 150, 200 per, what you say to those
They're
guys?
hurting the business because, you know, appliance repair, like being a teacher here for 30 years, the biggest problem is getting students because people don't think technicians make money. And the state of Florida does a survey every year on the demand for technicians and how much technicians make. And every year, appliance repair is not on that list of companies like AC, automotive, whatever. So the difference between AC and fixing a refrigerator. They're both sealed system refrigeration devices. This refrigerator behind you is $13,000 refrigerator. ACs are only $2,000, $3,000, maybe $5,000, $6,000. This refrigerator is $13,000. This stove is $15,000. So right there, those two products is almost what, $50,000 worth of product, or $20,000 worth of product. You know, you're gonna make some money.
You imagine getting that call. Hi, I have a blink, 4-door built-in and a blink,
dual fuel 48-inch range
animal from some restaurant. You know what kind of check a guy gets his whole week right there. His whole week is made in that call right there.
Yeah, you have to be fair to the customer.
But
no, I say fair to the customer because
Amen.
you know.
Because my next question was, how do you feel about the guy that overcharges the customer?
I think that once the customer finds out they've been overcharged, they'll never call you back. So you want to be fair to the customer. You do want to charge a rate that's going to be, you know, compensating for your job and
your
you
skills,
don't want to do it
your
for free.
professionalism,
Exactly.
the money you invested in your training,
They're
in
not-
your education, in your tools, in your 1-800 number, in your website, all of that, that's a cost of doing business.
Oh yeah, and they're not paying you for the 15 minutes you're there. You're only there 15 minutes because you know what you're doing when you go there. Because you know what you're doing, that same job takes somebody an hour. You know? So, but, you know, I tell my people, you know, don't try to make all your money off of one job with the customer. Build up a repeat customer because they'll refer you. Because, you know, you and I, you don't really advertise on the radio or TV.
No.
Neither do I. But yet we have a business and we have technicians and we're making money, right? So how do you get those customers? Repeat customers, and customers tell their friends, oh, I got a guy, he fixed my washer the other day, he's great, he didn't overcharge me, I trust him. Because, you know, I know people who come to me and say, you know, who do you recommend to do this? You know, well, someone that charged me right, I'm gonna recommend. If someone overcharged me, I'll never recommend them again. So, you know, that's where your business is gonna be. You know, you got to repeat business and tell customers what you need to tell them. Don't rob them, you know, because you want to come back and, you know.
And you're creating a karma for yourself. Guess what? The check engine light on your car goes bad. It may be an O2 sensor, but guess what? You know what the universe did? You'll be buying a new tranny, or you'll be buying a new whatever. You got to do good. It's just the law of attraction. But like my brother said, I don't think that appliance repair techs get enough credit. Again, we know a small amount of plumbing, a small amount of gas, of electrical, of electronic, of refrigeration. Like, we're in a lot of things. Like, if you're a true all-around polished tech, you know a lot of stuff. And I feel like you should be compensated for that. I feel like if I could keep your $13 refrigerator up and running, or heck, even your $2,000, $1,000, whatever, if I could keep it up and running and provide a service that, you know, you don't got to go out and break the bank, and to do the repair, you don't got to break the bank. I think that's fair business.
I think that's 100% right. You know, you got to take care of your customer.
Brother, what kind of advice can you know, I want to tell you something. I have sometimes, and I'm sure other owners could tell you the same thing. I've had situations where your technicians may not reflect your work spirit or your work values, i.e., like your level of dedication or your level of commitment, and like they don't reflect the company's core values. How you go about weeding that out, and how you go about dealing with that? And can you tell a story of a situation if that ever happens? I
could say is that obviously no service technician is going to put as much effort into a business that you're gonna put in. You know, it's your business at the end of the day. They, at 5 o'clock, they put their hat up and their shoes off, and they don't care about you till the next day they gotta go to work. But, you know, when they're working for you, like I said, I sent out a letter to my techs, the 30 things a technician should know. And, you know, that kind of thing, you wanna keep selling it to get the customers back. And if a person doesn't feel, you're like, oh, I hate my job, I hate my customers, and basically you just gotta go up to them and say, listen, if you don't like doing this, you know, move on. You know, I had one guy, I don't hate the guy, and I don't have any bad ill to him. He doesn't like me now, and was working for my company, and him and another, he needed help troubleshooting the refrigerator. So I said, okay, let's schedule for this day, and I'll meet you first thing in the morning, and I'll help you troubleshoot this fridge. Again, remember, I don't run calls every day. So I texted him first thing in the morning, and I said, excuse me, I texted him first thing in the morning, and I told him, you know, what time are you gonna be at this customer's house? He said, oh, I'm gonna be there 9 o'clock. So I made sure that I set myself up to be there at that time. So I left my house, dressed in the uniform, I'm ready to go. And I get to the customer's house, and I'm about a block away, and I have GPS on the trucks. I see his truck is still at his house about 20 minutes away. So I called my partner on the phone, and I said, can you believe this guy, he said he was gonna be here at 9 o'clock, and he's still 20 minutes away, and it's like 5 minutes to 9. I'm a little bit upset that, you know, I drove out there, and now I'm gonna sit there and wait for him. He says, oh no, he just walked in the door with another one of our techs in their street clothes, because they were out clubbing all night, and they're laughing and joking with the people in the office. And I was like,
oh, wow. We're gonna have to make some administrative changes, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand by.
So anyways, I basically had to put it on. Listen, if you're not here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, c'est la vie.
You know, he didn't have his uniform, didn't have a truck, but yet I didn't have all the tools with me that I needed. So I still went in the customer's house, went into Diagnostics, and troubleshot the refrigerator with just a screwdriver and a 1/4-inch nut driver. Not even a meter. Luckily it was those old bullet ice makers from Frigidaire, and I was able to call tech support and everything on the phone too. But it's like, you know, I hated to have to do it. I didn't really like fire him. I just told him, if you ain't gonna be here, this is what you're gonna be. And his excuse to me was like, how was I gonna fire my best technician? That's what he said to me. And I probably would have been less upset if he would just said, my bad, I'm sorry, I'll be there in a few minutes, I'll be there. No, he was like more upset that I was letting him go and telling me that he was my best tech, which I have some guys which were pretty good. So it was like, that's not the way you talk to the owner of a business. You know, you humbly, and you talk about respect and humble and everything else, you know, you have to respect that guy and just say, I'm sorry, I messed up. Just like you did to the customer. I'm sorry I messed up, I'll be there in a few minutes, and it's over with. But instead, makes it seem like, you know, you're the bad guy. And, you know, unfortunately, that's not how it goes.
Nah, hell no. Brother, listen, we're coming up on our hour mark here, and I do want to talk about our upcoming class.
Okay.
And I want to get you on for a part 2 and a part 3. I'm
Okay.
sure out of 32 years, we can extract a lot of juice, you know?
We can say we also talk about putting a business together and the tools and the software and what you need to do to set up your own business. I do a class with my guys, and I print out all the applications for creating a corporation, what types of insurance you need, setting up a bank account, setting up a parts account, you know, how do you go about doing it, you know? And that's something I think we need to talk about.
Amen. We'll definitely look at it. But the first one, the upcoming one, is going to be refrigerator repair.
Yeah, we're going to do schematic reading, diagnostics, troubleshooting, how to use the meter for troubleshooting. Why do we go here first? Why are we testing this first? It's like the same old thing. Customer has a defrost problem. They call you out and tell you the refrigerator's not cool. And I walk up and open up the freezer door, and the customer's like, no, the freezer's cool and the problem's the fridge. And you have to explain to them, well, the freezer cools the fridge. You know, so with the techs, when we do the training, we're gonna say, well, listen, you know, this is not working, but we have to look at this first because this controls this. And how do we use that for troubleshooting? And reading some of these high-end schematics, you know, that's the toughest thing for people to do.
Nah, and it's a profitable appliance too. Again, I champion the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
If the money was in ovens, oh, I'd be talking ovens. I'd be the oven guy. But a spade is a spade. And I'm a refrigerator.
It's refrigerators than washers.
And funny, the poll I hosted reflected those exact interests. And we will do a washer. And we will do a washer. We're gonna do a washer for the guys. But for now, what can we look forward for with you? What do you got going on? If people want to reach out to you, cause you know, I know you part of the channel, and I know guys now are gonna start getting to know you. But if anyone wants to reach out to you or got any questions, you want to promote anything, now's your chance.
Promoting is the school. You know, anybody in the South Florida area, you know, I teach everything. It's about a 1-year course. There is a part-time class, but it takes longer because it's based on hours. You don't need to do the full amount of hours to get a job in this industry. I got people who are about 70–80% of the way, and they get hired and they just finish up their training at night. You know, this is something that's going to make you money, and you need to know how to use the tools. You need to know how to read schematics, and you need to know people in this industry. And Brandon's a good person to know, and he gives a lot of good advice in some of his videos. And you know, I watch all your videos and everything else. And
Thank you.
I'm part of your channel. And
Thank
I know you work
Everybody's part of my channel. If you ever hit the subscribe button, you're part of my channel.
In the future, I'll give him some more of the videos I had. The ones I took down, I didn't delete them all, so I will give him some stuff to put up there, but you know, I have to proof them first. But you know, Brandon will make some more videos of our next training class and show you how the electrical class goes. It's not just you sit there and listen to us talk on a board. If you look at our videos, or his videos, I say ours because we were in it together, you see there's a lot of hands-on. We show you different tools to use: digital meters, analog meters, amp probes, how to use them in a proper way. Why do we use volts in this case, but why do we go to ohms in this case? We're going to break it all down for you and talk to you in the language you can understand.
Oh, that's my specialty. I specialize in the language of dumb. I'm the for dummies version of appliance repair. You remember those books back in the days for dummies?
Windows for dummies.
I'm the for dummies of appliance repair.
For dummies.
I'm the appliance, but they're not gonna be skimmed. Nothing technical.
Oh, hell no.
We were showing these guys how to do leak tests. We did one unit, a GE. I think it was a monogram side by side. This thing had a leak in the it was one leak in the evaporator, one leak in the condenser. And you know, we're doing hands-on stuff. Like on the spot, like, whoa, look at this. Why is the pressure drop? Oh, I put a vac. Like you're gonna get hands-on. That's for sure. And I think that you can learn this on your own. You can learn this going to school. Everybody got like their thing, but man, I just think that you gotta get hands-on though, man. And the reason is because customers can smell that, man. It's like a barber. We're all men here, and shout out to the women who follow me. We all men here. And you know, like when you get your hair cut by a barber, if he grabs your hair and he's like skeptical and he's and then he's combing. You know, I like a guy that when I sit down, he spins me around, lavers me, and just kicks me out the door. And I'm like, whoa, look at me. You know, I think customers can detect that too. And why not get all that out of your system on a hands-on platform? You know, get your hands-on training and become a lifetime member or something. All of our alumni, like I said, they're part of the brotherhood, our walkie-talkie brotherhood. They got my direct number. They call me all the time. And, you know, Brother Rick's part of the network too. So, you know, you get all that comes with. So, again, we trying to create a brotherhood of just polished, refined techs nationwide, if not worldwide. And thank you for being on board, man. Love, peace, and harmony.
Appreciate it.
I love you, man. Bro. Hey, again, y'all, this is Brother Rick. Where can they find you? Got social media?
Nice. I have it, but
email.
Email is rzilka65@gmail.com, or if you can't spell Zilka, just email Brandon. Him and I talk together almost every day. We're always talking about classes, what we could do, how can we make it better. And even for those guys that took our first class, we still have some things coming that we
it's
got just for
continuing.
you.
Continuing.
We'll keep you up to date. And those guys, I promise you, send those email. We'll get that out by next week.
Amen. With that said, brother, thank you for being part of the show. We're gonna get you again.
Of course.
Love, peace, and harmony, y'all. Happy holidays. Tune in. We got brother DC Repair. Shout out to him. I got some other guys that's gonna be on Shop Talk. We'll keep doing what we can for the industry, y'all. For that, remember, please donate. If you supporting the movement, if you like what's going on, go below. There's a Cash App. There's a PayPal. Get our merchandise. Subscribe to our school and show love to the industry, and the industry will show love back to you. With all that said, love, peace, and harmony. I'm your host with the most, Brother B, signing out.
Out.
We did.